Everybody, welcome to the Monday stream. Sorry, just a couple of minutes late. Just had to update a couple of more things. All projections should be updated on the site, including the Miami news and Derek Favors being out as well for the Oklahoma City, I guess, bumping JRL up. So we should be ready to go. I mean, there could be other news that might be forthcoming, but we'll just kind of take that as it happens. Just gonna wait for Bobby to come on here. We'll talk a little bit of basketball and we'll talk about the football as well. And I have to do my update my lineups here. Oh, there's Bobby. What's going on? Hey, what's going on, Bobby?
Hey, what's up, man? How's everybody's weekend?
So I want to wish happy birthday to Russell Wilson today. And also to Bobby Firestone. That's right. That's right.
That's all right. I share mine with that strange guy.
That's right.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, no, it's been a whirlwind, man. Since Thursday, between my birthday, there's a bunch of our friends' birthdays, and I haven't seen my family, and then Thanksgiving, and then my girlfriend's first time meeting my family, and we have tons of people, a very big family in Santa Barbara, and it's been a whirlwind. Tonight is the last night we're doing anything, so I'm actually looking forward to the break.
Well, let's forget about all that because let's talk about what's most important.
And Butler being out?
Butler being out is nothing.
Okay.
Butler's being nothing. And me being alive in Survivor Pool for like $6 million, that's awesome. Nothing. That's nothing either. Okay. The most important thing that woke me up with the smile on my face, forget the Ravens, was freaking K9 Bronco. Okay. Let's really, really talk about what's most important.
I didn't see what happened. So I literally haven't had a chance to catch up on everything. So tell me what happened. Did K9 take it down?
Yeah. Didn't you comment? I thought you commented on it as well.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I did see that one. I'm sorry about that. I did see that one. I thought wait, let me make sure I looked at the right one. But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really awesome. I mean, great guy. Obviously, he's very loyal and he's always in there and he says happy birthday. Thanks a lot, man. But yeah, that was great to see him take that down. That's an awesome win.
What was that? The FanDuel? What was a single entry? I don't know. It was single entry, whatever it was, but it was a shitload of points. That's for sure.
You nailed it.
Really excited about that.
Yeah, that's great news, obviously, and it was great. I actually thought, I did really well on Sunday. I had finished 10th and 20th with two totally unique lineups in the sweep, but they both were looking, especially one of them was looking like it had a good chance to win. And it was a Herbert stack too, which was what was crazy. I got nothing out of my Chargers, and I still put up. But I did play Fournette. I did play some Joe Mixon, so I had some pretty good shots there. But can never argue with tripling your money or whatever on a weekend. So.
Yeah, I didn't have as much luck with the with the NFL as you guys did. But with respect to DFS, but as I alluded to earlier, the Survivor Pool business is humming right now. Let's put it that way.
Man, that's exciting.
Yeah, we're
exciting. Thanks to everybody who's saying the happy birthdays in chat. I really appreciate it. Also, so it was a $10 single entry was what it was for K9 Bronco. But that's an awesome tournament. And talk about a good return. I mean, $10 into $5,000 is pretty solid.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome.
So what I have to do now, I do this from time to time because now I have more of an allegiance to the listeners than to myself. Is I had to take a little time to update the projections on there, and I now have to just go and update my lineups to reflect what I updated over there. So I did change everything for Jesus Christ, I did it again with the Miami news and with the Oklahoma City news. Opening up JRE, whatever.
James are right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how that's a borderline relevant one for me personally.
Right, but just from a timing perspective.
Yeah.
So that's all up on the site now, and I'm just redoing my lineups now. I did FanDuel already, and I'm basically getting 100% of BAM. I mean, can I tell you?
I want to point out just that I think this is a tiny bit fishy.
Okay.
At Mega Chalk, like it has been a really long time, and we've had games without Butler. We've had Butler, no Butler around here, and that's a little different. But you do have like Kyle Lowry. And we had games last year when Butler didn't play, and we had no Tyler Hero. And Bam sort of didn't exactly break the slates. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's the ability to. And also on top of it, it's a pretty terrible matchup if Jokic plays. Now, if Jokic doesn't play, that's a different story.
Okay.
But,
okay. Jokic, we've had this. I've had this discussion every day now. Jokic does not exist yet. I am not going to believe.
I totally agree. Yeah, I agree. And in that case, if we're gonna agree on that, and then we're gonna say then in that case, it's a great matchup for Bam. If Jokic does play, it's a terrible matchup for Bam. Like it just is.
I mean, if he plays, he's going to be. I mean, I don't know.
Well, no, but I'm just saying it makes it to me. It makes I don't care whether you want to play him or not. I just think about it. It makes the other side totally different because Bam is like, and the thing is, just look at Bam on DraftKings. I know on FanDuel you said you're getting him 100%. On DraftKings, Bam is.
I don't know about that on DraftKings yet. I got to do that next.
Is Bam even a safer play though than Christian Wood at the same price on either side? Is he a better upside play? He's probably not a better upside play than Christian Wood. I mean, I don't know. It just feels a little fishy to just be all over this play. And I'm just sort of having some doubts about it. You know, I always want to try and play the Christian Woods in these games that they should be able to stay close. And we see the ceiling. The guy put up 63 in the last game. Now, obviously, he shot the ball really well, did a lot of things. But the rebounding numbers are just skyrocketing for him. And I just think it's an interesting conversation. You could play.
Yeah, I'm actually less on DraftKings. I only have 82% of them on there. So.
Only 82.
That's it.
The other one that's going to pop way out for everybody, and I guess it makes sense, but I also feel a little fishy about this one, and that's Duncan Robinson. I might take the other route and say, well, this is a game where maybe they really need Kyle Lowry to sort of do more old Kyle Lowry stuff. And yeah, maybe it's not exciting, and he's not going to put up probably 50 or 60, but he certainly is likely to put up 40 here. I think this is really what you have to figure out with this slate, because you're going to have just massive chalk on both Duncan Robinson and Bam. And I don't know. And also you're going to get a lot of ownership on Gabe Vincent, which, you know, it's fine. I'm okay with it. But like, you know, is it that much better to play than a guy like Robert Covington later in a game that I like? You know what I mean? It's just kind of,
you know, I talked about Covington when I did my video earlier, you know.
Yeah.
He's under freaking 4K for God's sake.
Right.
And
yep.
You know, he's going to get 25 fantasy. He always does. I mean, I don't know.
He's been pretty solid. Yeah, we used to hate playing him because he was 6K and he'd always put up 30 fantasy points. Now he puts up 25 and we're in great shape at 3,800.
Well, let's talk about a couple of plays which I think are really tough to fade. And that for me is Karis LeVert.
That's a tough fade.
Yeah, that's very tough for me to fade on DraftKings. And I presume you like all these Houston stuff, right? You like Kevin Porter Jr., you like Christian Wood.
I do. I have a different take of what my plan on the slate was going to be very different, and maybe I can just shift over some value. But I really like. I'm going to keep doing the same thing every time this happens, because it happens once a year where Damian Lillard puts up 80+ fantasy points against Utah. It happens every time.
That's Utah tonight, right?
That's the situation with Utah, and I talked about it with Ja before too. They force you to have to go nuts against them to beat these guys sometimes. And we've seen Dame playing a little bit better, being a little bit more aggressive lately. He's been over 56 in 2 of his last 4. He's cheap on DraftKings. He's cheap on FanDuel. I just think that's a game I would like to get exposure to. And I want him in either one of Nance or Little. Probably I prefer Nance by a little bit, but it's close. And a Covington or Little, you could include it in that conversation. I like getting 3 of those guys together. You could play Simons. I'm probably not going to play Simons with Lillard. But on the other side, you play Donovan Mitchell on the run back or Gobert in a potential ceiling type of environment, and I think you're in business. I really like that game. You just need Portland to keep it close. There is always a risk that Utah could smash them.
Can I tell you what I think's fishy? I think that this year Little is fishy.
I agree a little bit, but I think there's upside. The only reason I'm hesitant to say it's fishy is that I think he legitimately has, you know, he can get 30 here, and I don't think it's that impossible. It's weird how they're really dividing the minutes, and what the reality is, Sheets, we know how it works. Everybody projected to play 24 minutes is obviously not going to all play 24 minutes. These guys going to be different things that happen in this game. So, you know, I don't know. So maybe I bumped down the Portland guys a little bit in favor of some of maybe Gabe Vincent is a little better than I'm giving him credit for. I actually think there's an interesting argument for Martin in that game. just because the opportunity will be there for him to play minutes. But in terms of getting a game stack, I found myself most drawn to that Portland Utah game of any of the games. And oddly enough, the other game that sort of was popping for me, but I was having trouble figuring out who to play on the other side of it, was the Washington San Antonio game.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything to play in that game. I liked DeJounte Murray, but that was it.
I like Podol a lot, and I like Keldon. I mean, I talk all the time like about just I just feel like, you know, you play guys at the price ranges that make sense. I know he hasn't put up these ceiling games. He hasn't been shooting the ball that much lately. All of that stuff. It's a great matchup, first of all, against a big. Even though they play good defense in Washington, it's a good matchup for bigs. And, you know, he's just sort of just missing having those real big games lately. Like he missed a double-double by 3 points the other night. He had 12 rebounds. I think Podol's a pretty safe bet for somewhere between 30 and 45. And 45 is pretty high, but I like Podol. I like Keldon Johnson. I don't think you want to necessarily play those two guys together because they can play small with Keldon Johnson at the 5. And I like Murray too. But I'm not playing enough lineups to where I'm really getting to it. I'm really focused, pretty dialed in on this Portland Utah game, and you stack and pray that it stays close. I love the Mitchell and Lillard back and forth. And I'm telling you, we see it every year. Lillard has at least one game, usually in Utah, that he goes completely nuts.
Yeah, K9, I heard that too. The Jokic brothers buying tickets for the game, indicating that he's going to play, I suppose. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think it's more likely he plays today than it has been for him lately. But I don't know where to stand with it.
More likely to die of old age today than it was yesterday too. I mean, like,
was that? No, I know. We also don't have to like worry about it, like, because it's the first. I don't think we're playing. I mean, at least I'm not. Are you finding anything in this Orlando Philadelphia game that you want to do? I don't have a single thing that
I do actually.
Tobias Harris revenge.
Yeah, I like that a little bit.
If it was in Orlando, I'd be with you, but I don't think I can.
I think I like it anyway. I don't know.
Okay.
Earlier in the day, I would have liked. I was liking Wendell Carter Jr., but I just because of all that's transpired, I'm just not getting him. Who is this? Oh, okay. Okay, there's a guy I thought I didn't know who it was. Bad abbreviation. Yeah, I guess I don't have too much of the Orlando, but I do have probably more Tobias Harris than I'm supposed to. Do you have any Embiid?
No, but look, dude, it's fine. Like my thinking, I mean, this time of year, again, we're gonna have news that shakes out later. It's a big slate, so I'm always gonna sort of look at it with a little bit of a skeptical eye that first game anyway.
Okay.
But I think Embiid, like, you know, it's interesting to take Embiid as a play who's going to be way less owned than a guy like Paul George. Now, Embiid has played one game since he's been back and he put up 70 fantasy points. Paul George hasn't put up 50 fantasy points in I don't know, weeks. It's been a long time.
I haven't even noticed. That's so funny.
Yeah, and Paul George it's fine, but people don't realize like there are some downgrades that happen when you get all your bodies back, and getting Marcus Morris in the rotation, even though it's not like a crazy high usage guy. Getting Serge Ibaka, there's just more touches out there. Paul George doesn't have to play 40 minutes; he can play 36. You know what I mean? And he just really hasn't, performed. Now it's a good matchup, so I'm not going to argue with anything that. But it's just interesting to me that he's going to be so popular, where a guy like Embiid is going to be overlooked. And if we thought this game was going to stay close against Orlando, I mean, Embiid should just destroy these frontline guys. I like Bamba and Carter, but they aren't matching up with Embiid. Like, I pretty much always feel that way about Embiid, though.
Big spread, man.
It's a big spread. It's honestly, I think if I had to bet on this one, I would take the Philadelphia and give the points up. I'd either beat the hell out of them. Okay. I've just seen it happen too many times with Orlando. But by the way, I don't want to give too much of a shout out to myself, but I did make some very, very big calls, and I will have everything updated for in the future, guys. I didn't have this weekend got out of hand. I'll have all my bets of the day and all that. But every bet I talked about on the show about the Rams line making no sense. Why are they favored against Green Bay in Green Bay? Why was the spread 46? That made no sense to me. I couldn't figure it out, and that ended up just absolutely smashing. But I did want to just touch down that I will be updating my bets of the day.
I'd like to update my bets. So we had last time we were on together, we had one selection, and that was Lehigh UVA under in the basketball. That landed on 99 total.
Oh wow! Never in doubt.
Never in doubt. Yeah, the UVA basketball plays for less points than the UVA football, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. I do think it's interesting what this guy's bringing up here about the Ball brothers against each other here, especially with Levine being somewhat questionable. I think it's a really interesting play. If I was going to do it because of the sloppiness and because the steals and blocks are what you want, sort of, especially with Lonzo's case, like there's 4 to 5 stock upside or whatever. You could play those guys in the backcourt much easier on FanDuel, and I think that would be more logical for me. But I like that. I like that spot. I agree. I think it's a good place to try and target. I actually think I don't know if I like Lonzo better, but I think they're both good plays. So I like that. I like that.
Hey, what about your guy? Kenan Bronco brings it up. You like? We haven't played him. I mean, I haven't played him this year. What about the Poku? Yeah.
It's just that minutes thing just feels, again, it's all over the place. So it could slant his way. It's not all over the place, but the problem is the ceiling of minutes has been just around 20. And I feel like, yeah, maybe you could argue with him versus Little individually, and he's going to put up a game at some point, but they're just not giving him the run. They really aren't. Right. I got him projected to play 20 tonight. Because what's going to happen? OKC's going to play some Muscala. They're going to play James Robinson early, and I just, for me, I'll play Lou Dort and live with the results. If I was going to play anybody, I'll play Josh Giddey or Shea. But I don't think I can quite get to the Poku tonight. Although I'm going to say, he'll break a few slates this season for sure. I just don't have any reason to point to this necessarily being the one, because he really hasn't seen any minutes out of him.
Yeah, I got him at average at 20 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's a fun game. That would be it's pretty insulting to the NBA. But I mean, look, it's two of the worst teams, good spots for everybody. I'm a little hesitant to play the Kevin Porter chalk personally. I like Kevin Porter in general here. I think he's a good play. I understand without Green that he gets the work and all this stuff, but I don't know. Kevin Porter has many, many, many times picked up 3 fouls in the first a minute of a game that he was 60% owned on, because his price was always all over the place. And it's just, he doesn't have to put up 40 plus fantasy points here. And at 50% or higher ownership, it feels like we probably should only be playing guys that basically have to be putting up those points without something freaky happening. And I don't think he has to. I think Deshaun Tate is more of a logical play, although it'll be less exciting. But I like the price at 4,800 in a competitive game. And Christian Wood is my favorite play in that game of either side.
To answer your question, somebody, Kevin Wise, wants, boy, you're greedy. You want a power forward under 4K on FanDuel. I don't think I have anything for you, sir.
FanDuel?
Yeah, the closest thing I have an under 4K guy. I got Struce, okay? But as far as power forwards go, it's grim. I don't have anything.
So the only one I would consider is, and it's really thin, really thin.
4K is brutal.
Denny Avdia would be the only answer I have that's under 4K on FanDuel. That's really thin. And if you got a little bit more,
I got one.
Herbert Jones's minutes.
I got one. The aforementioned Pokashevsky.
Well, I think that's why Poku was coming up for.
Oh, that's the closest I have, but it's still not a great play.
Yeah, just it's so easy to get to. I mean, not that Baisley is some amazing play, but 4,900, I just feel much better about him than I do the other guys.
Yeah, that's Abdia. And you want to play? Oh, go play. Just as bad to play. You could play Jalen McDaniels if you want. You got to be able to find something better. That might make a little bit of sense. I guess Poku or Abdia are fine. I'm not doing that. I'll just say that. I love Keldon. Also, Keldon Johnson at 5,500. I mean, I expect Keldon Johnson to be taking the leap this year, and it's not quite happened consistently. But he can put up a ceiling game. That guy can rebound. He is a big, strong, tough guy. He put up 38 in his last game. I would try to get to Keldon Johnson. Kanon, you can't find a way to find the 1,000 for Darius Baisley at 4,900 maybe,
or PJ Washington at 4,900, who's probably one of the. I don't know how we didn't mention him, and no one's going to play him on DraftKings.
Yeah, on FanDuel, he rates to be the top point per dollar play on the slate.
Yeah, he looks like a great play on FanDuel, but it's weird to me that no one seems to want to play him on DraftKings, because it's not all that different pricing-wise, from what we've seen.
Right.
Yeah, I like a lot of the mid 4Ks and the low 5Ks in that range, so it's hard for me. And the guy who's never a great FanDuel play but can always get hot is he's 4,800 over there, and that's Bogdanovich would be the one.
I was just looking at him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but play PJ Washington if you're gonna do that. I mean, it's pretty good chalk, I think.
I totally agree. I think I'll say PJ Washington. I'm only playing on DraftKings tonight. Like, I just can't get too many lineups out there. I'm going to dinners, and we all know there's going to be madness, but I can handle a couple lineups from my phone.
Right. Right.
So I'm going to be playing on DraftKings, but I'm trying to still really figure out this Bam situation. What I want to do. It's going to lower the ownership on Wood, who was going to have some ownership. I think he was going to end up higher than sites were projecting. I think he was going to be closer to 20%. I think he's going to end up closer to 10% now because of Bam.
Who Wood?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
think
a lot of people are going to do that thing with stacking that game, though.
Yeah. Jaden McDaniels, for what it's worth, is just ruled out, by the way.
Oh, there you go.
That might actually mean something, though. Well, we need to know what
Plumlee's out, right?
We need to know what happens with Vanderbilt. Wait, it's Jaden McDaniels. Yeah, Jaden McDaniels, not Jalen. Jaden for Minnesota. But Naz Reid probably gets a boost here. Jared Vanderbilt, not the most exciting to always throw out there for 4,800. Seems like a lot, but the guy's put up 30 or more in 3 out of 5, and even the other ones where he missed, he was at 20 and 28. And take away that guy on DraftKings, he's 4,800. There's some upside there, I think, for Jared Vanderbilt. He's questionable too, by the way. But I'm assuming because we heard about McDaniels that he's probably in.
DFS Wolfpack is supposing Rudy Gay if Royce O'Neal is out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I crossed over that one. Rudy Gay is a guy you could even play and just take a shot anyway, because the only thing with him is you're never going to get like,
as long as he's not limited.
If he plays 20, but even if he's limited to 20, if they say he's limited to 20 or 24, that's like more than he plays anyway. Like,
I was joking. We got to make sure it's the right Rudy Gay.
Oh, the right guy, right? Exactly. Yeah. The throwback one. But yeah, Rudy Gay, it's fine. It's just I don't know. I think there's better value. I'd rather try the Portland guys out.
I saw that.
We're getting more news.
Denver, I think.
Cody Martin also ruled out. DJ Augustine ruled out. Okay. We're gonna have to run projections again. This is all the more reason why I'm not going to be touching that first game. And
I'll do it if I have to. Do we really need to run projections based on those guys being out?
I think so, because if Naz Reid plays 20 some odd minutes, he's 3,100. Like, he's an extra value over the other guys.
Okay.
If Jared Vanderbilt's going to play 32 minutes, I like him as a tournament option. Like,
what time's that game?
The guard thing, it's Cody, right? Was it Cody or Caleb? Let me just double check.
Oh, no. This again. Right?
So frustrating with that situation. And it was easier. It actually was easier for me when they were on the same team. I wish it was Caleb Martin who was ruled out, because then it would actually.
Right.
Well, I don't know. And Jokic is in.
And Jokic what?
Jokic is in.
Oh, excellent. Now I can X him out.
Yeah, there you go. Just skip him anyway. Tell you what, he's getting pretty cheap, though. It's a pretty bad matchup, though, for him. Kind of guy who gives him trouble. Yeah, I'm interested a little bit and see what happens with the Charlotte minutes. I just want to see what happens. Cody Martin, if he's going to play 20 minutes, I guess what it means is that Kelly Oubre remains a good long shot tournament play, and probably something you should just be doing in general all the time at this point. He's been so active. I mean, the guy comes in for 20 minutes and shoots the ball 20 times,
So here's a guy who's good at basketball that we haven't mentioned yet. You like Luka Doncic at all?
It's shocking that I went this far without talking about him. I actually don't. I think I would play Jokic ahead of him personally.
I think I would too. By the way,
I think it's close, but I think that I would go that route. Oddly enough, like I actually like. I'm going to start liking Luka more and more as the season progresses, because with Kleba in the lineup, his fantasy production always goes up because of how inactive, how Kleba is basically, doesn't try to do anything but block shots and rebound. And then you have Dwight Powell sometimes in there at the same time as Kleba with doing the same thing. And THJ, Jalen Brunson, Porzingis, those are the guys who usage-wise can take away from Luka. But you're going to have Kleba on the court for 26, 28 minutes, who, by the way, Kleba is a fair, I actually think you could even argue for him as a cash play. He's got plenty of upside at 4K to, with his the minutes that he plays.
Christian, I'm a little curious how you come up with this question. He asked Jared Allen or Tobias Harris? I'm just
Power
curious.
forward on FanDuel.
Oh, okay. Got it.
That's how I think it comes across. But I would guess that's what he's talking about.
Okay, fair enough.
And by the way, actually, I didn't mention it, but yeah, Jared Allen. I'm never going to say he's always a good tournament play. And I'll just point out that we call him a tournament play, but he puts up 40 every game. You know,
Right.
and he's 7,500. That works out mathematically, especially with the scores that we're seeing these days. So I don't mind that play at all.
But I like Tobias Harris more than Jared Allen.
Yeah, I'm lower on Tobias Harris myself, but I would prefer Allen, especially factoring in ownership. So I'll leave that as my decider. Tobias Harris it's weird. We're paying this like the same Tobias Harris almost price. Well, what's his name's out? Well, Embiid's out. I don't know. It just feels kind of fishy. But I if it was in Orlando, I would give him a little extra boost, his old town and all that. You could always argue those both ways. Maybe he parties the night before or whatever. But it's in Philly. I also don't like that game at all. You mentioned the Struss before, and I think we're going to have to make that decision between the Gabe Vincent Max Struss thing if we want to play one or neither. My initial thought is to probably play Vincent, but I don't know how much better.
Not that this is like determinative, but there have been at least one time, but probably a handful, where Vincent has been a colossal failure as chalk. I think it was last season at some point. He literally, I think he might have had 0 for like the first half, and maybe by charity ended up with 8 or something like that.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah, Gabe Vincent can absolutely play minutes and do nothing. But he's been a little bit better, and he's active enough. He actually is a pretty good shot creator for other people. So with Butler out and Hero out, I think it's a little better of a spot than those other previous ones were.
Okay.
But I agree though. It's suspect, and it's suspect for me with Struss. But I'm into Larry Nance, and that's also somewhat suspecty too. Some of these guys are going to get there, but I don't think there's any of these cheapos that are just like, oh, there's no way they fail here.
Yeah, and I played Struss a couple of times. He's not particularly active. You know what I mean? Like he does, he stays in the corner. He'll get a couple of rebounds, but it's not like he's going to drive it to the hoop or anything like that. And create. And for whatever reason, I have this feeling that Duncan Robinson, as you mentioned earlier, he might not be the greatest bit of chalk either.
No. He's a guy who can go out there and make 10 threes in a game, and basically that's how he gets there.
And I've seen him get a couple. I've seen him some games with some peripherals when guys are out. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But
not a great creator for others. Not a great rebounder. Actually, a much better than he gets credit for. Real life defender.
Yeah, absolutely.
He for some reason people talk about him as if he's just like, no, he plays hard.
No, he's one of those guys, one of those GM guys. Like, they all know that he can play defense.
Yeah, I do think he's exactly right. I think the best bet for Duncan Robinson is maybe to fade him in DFS and put a bet on the over, because he's still got the 13.5 for the point total from what I'm looking at, and I think that's way too low for him here. I think that he should be somewhere around 16 or 17.
I always felt that that if it was available, always the best way to play Duncan Robinson is over in points in the first half. He always just gets it going to start the game.
Yep.
Like, so many times he has 3 threes in the first 4 or 5 minutes. And that's if you can get that. I mean, I'd like to probably play like Duncan Robinson over something in the first half or something like that.
Yeah, he tends to get lost in the middle of throughout the games, and they tend to run in the third quarter and first quarter. They tend to run a bunch of plays designed to get him open looks.
Okay.
But they don't do it so much other than that, except for maybe down late in the game or something.
Right.
Look, there's so many good just general plays that, like, trying to play some of these, maybe skipping and playing a little more of a balanced build. I do think some of these guys are definitely going to get there, but trying to balance out your builds a little bit may be a better way to go today. Maybe playing guys more like Jashawn Tate instead of the super cheapos. Jashawn Tate, I would take Jashawn Tate over Duncan Robinson when you factor in the ownership. For sure, actually, I would.
Yeah, he's very active. I like him, Jashawn Tate.
Yeah. We didn't talk about Lou Dort. I mentioned him earlier, but I really like Lou Dort tonight. Piece of news coming in. JaMychal Green out, Bones Highland available. Probably not too much of a needle mover for me.
No. Yeah, I got on DraftKings. I have like 55% Dort.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, he's not the same guy. I mean, these guys are still young and figuring themselves out, and he's basically always around that 20 to 35 range, and then he can also occasionally just go completely nuts if he gets hot. So I'm a fan. He's taken a ton of threes this year, so I like the Dort idea, especially against a team that can't guard the 3-point line. So he's going to be popular. There's nothing groundbreaking about that, but I really do like him.
All right, the thing is, I mean, I don't know if Bam himself is like such a lock, like you were saying, but I mean, but Butler and Hero out, man. That's a lot. That's a lot.
It's a lot, but remember, Kyle Lowry is there too.
It's true.
This is not like when that happened last year with those guys out. And K9 Broncos asking about Barton versus Porter. Without knowing the rest of your lineup, I think Kevin Porter is the far better upside play with Jokic in. But you're also going to have a lot more ownership on him. So
what do you think? What do you think? You were talking about this Portland Utah game a little bit. What you like Nurkic at all?
I don't like what they do with him, man.
Yeah, he plays 24 minutes. He gets there anyway, and he plays more.
He had that one crazy game the other day, right? Like the 20. He ended up getting to 32 minutes, but he had played like in the first 18 minutes he played. I think he had 50 fantasy points or something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't like the individual matchup for him against Gobert, but at the same time, maybe you could argue it keeps him on the court more. It just hasn't even been the case against big teams. They even haven't played him that much, even in those spots. They like to go small. They saw what happened. The way to beat Utah, the blueprint was shown very clearly last year by the Clippers did. Go small, spread them out, and make Gobert guard the 3-point line. Now, he's a great athlete, but it does sort of negate his advantage if you play like that. And my guess is that's how Portland will choose to play this game.
You haven't been paying attention? Player 164, pass.
What do you mean?
I was doing my Squid Game thing. I got that done. I got the umbrella for tomorrow.
Oh.
Got the umbrella one for tomorrow, but I got the triangle. So the triangle's done. We're good.
Minutes restriction. Danny Green playing. Okay. Anyway, yeah. But I think I don't see a bunch more questions.
Yeah, you want to give like 5 minutes on the football game?
Yeah, I'm not playing in the interest of total transparency tonight, but I can talk about it for sure. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, that's the thing. I got nothing particularly fancy in this game. The only stupid play that I'm thinking of making, and I'm really trying to talk myself off of it, is this idiot third string running back that's going to get no targets and no rushing attempts. And that's usually not a good thing for fantasy.
Josh Johnson?
No, worse.
Sorry, Jarrell Patterson.
Yeah. Jarrett Patterson, I guess.
Yeah, Jarrett. I'm sorry, Jarrett.
He's 1K, and then the other guy I'm going to play is the Swain at 2,200. Those are the cheapos that I'm going to use. But everything else is just seems kind of normal. Heineke, Wilson, Metcalf, and then Lockett, McLaurin, and Gibson would be the top plays, and question of who you put in the captain and stuff like that. And I do like both the kickers a little bit. I don't like either of the defenses. And I think it's kind of like a chop with 75,000 people kind of night tonight. That's the way I'm thinking about it.
Hard to see it. I think Antonio Gibson captain won't be crazy high owned.
All right, that's something.
That's something I would consider doing. I think Logan Thomas is a long shot captain one that I would take a shot with.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we've seen this a million times. He's not the same price anymore, but doesn't it feel like every time there's a showdown slate that he's on, that Freddie Swain, regardless of where he's playing,
that's what I said. He's the other cheapo I'm playing.
Yeah. It's hard not to have some interest in him, but I mean, even as like maybe you do get weird with it and play him at captain.
Captain?
Well, because I think you have spend ups that are really good. I think Gibson, McLaurin, Metcalf, and Lockett are all really strong plays. And
the more of those you can get in, the better. That's why I've been gravitating to this Patterson thing, because I can just pitch the 1K and then get the rest of them in.
Yep. And I just want to say, like, again, I'm not saying they should win. They're going to win for sure. But I think it's very odd that Seattle is favored in this game.
It's a pick'em game. It's a stupid game.
it feels like it shouldn't be 1.5 Seattle. It feels like it should be 2 or 3 Washington to me. And then maybe I like Seattle or whatever, but I don't know, man. I don't see why.
Seattle's not looking very.
They don't look great. I'll tell you that. And I was sort of amazed by how poorly they played in that game against Arizona. And Russell Wilson feels like he's.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think of Arizona as a team?
I like them.
Okay.
I think that they're probably, they went from being underrated all season to being a little overrated probably, and then it's sort of like everybody forgot. But like what they just did without Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, who are like two of the best 15 players in football offensively. That's maybe even higher than that.
You think these guys are coming back? I mean,
they're beating the hell out of these guys. They're still beating the hell out of people.
You think they're coming back for this next game?
I don't know. It's tough. I honestly don't.
They got a bye. I mean, like, they should be back.
Right? You'd have them back. Yeah, I would expect it, but I'm not sure.
What do you make of? We talked about this. How is New England favored by 7 over freaking Tennessee? But I mean, like Tennessee's like without their players, they're like broken. I mean, like they have. I mean, look, the coach does a good enough job to try, but they have just no players. It's like brutal.
Yeah, I agree. But I didn't think it was weird. I thought I wasn't surprised by the line being 7. I was surprised that I just at the a few weeks ago.
Right. Well,
I don't know what amount of odds you could have gotten for them to be -7 in that game.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what's that's what I talk about with survivor pool stuff. Is like part of survivor pool is predicting future value, like when you might use a team in the future. But the farther out those games are projected, the more fragile they are. You know what I mean? You're basing it on early lines on week 1, not knowing how these teams are going to develop. And the beginning of the season, I don't know what New England's win prop was, but it was certainly not what they're going to end up getting, right? And then you have freaking the Colts, who they lost the game against the Ravens to put them to 1-4, and they're one of the until this last game they were one of the hottest teams around. So
right.
Teams improve, and teams get better, and teams get injured, and teams get healthier. It's and then Tom Brady just keeps on rolling.
Yep. Miles Turner just got ruled out. Okay. So we're getting some of this news that this is I think Turner is a good defender, but probably a little overrated individual defender. But it does feel like, how in the hell are they going to be able to guard Cat? But I don't know. That's something. I think Cat is a much better player than he was with no Turner in there.
Yeah, I don't think I have any Turner. Obviously, that's got to be a bump for Sabonis, right?
Right.
Is there any like Gogo? Does Gogo still play on the team?
It's a bump for Sabonis because of the rebounding. Yeah. What was the thing you were saying?
Does Goga still play, or is there? Like
I think that we're going to see him pop up. I currently don't have him predicted for any minutes, but I think we might see something like that pop up. And keep an eye on this. You know who this probably opens it up for? Why don't we play Chris Duarte?
It's interesting
because it's just extra minutes on the floor. That Miles Turner plays 30 minutes a game, and Duarte, because Duarte's not losing minutes because he's not good. He's just young, and they have LeVert. So, but why can't he and LeVert both get there? I mean, first of all, Duarte's been over 20 in 4 straight games. Now you're taking off one of the 3 main players on the team. Duarte is projected to play 23 minutes that I'm looking at, and I think maybe he plays 28 to 30. And if he plays 28 to 30 at 3,900, that guy can freaking shoot it. I'll take that shot. So I think Chris Duarte is going to bump into my things, even if the sites don't agree with me. I think I might actually prefer him over some of this other chalky business.
LeVert's just a lock, right? I mean,
I think so. LeVert versus Dort was a question. I think they're both really strong plays. I think if I was playing a cash game lineup, I probably played both of them. But I think LeVert is the better play.
Yeah. All right, I guess I'm going to get out of here. Unless there's any other questions out here. Pats are 40 to 1 to win it all. Forget that. The freaking Chiefs were like 40 to 1 to win it all after like week 8.
I have the combo. I told you that my friend did for me. The MVP and the Chiefs to win the title at 100 to 1, which before the season was like 5 to 1 for that combination.
Yeah. What's his name's really putting the hammer on this Brady though.
What?
For MVP, I think.
I mean, he didn't do anything. It was maybe look for Fournette for MVP after Sunday.
Dude, the guy. I don't know how it happened. I talked about this whole season. He just somehow landed in this spot where, it's just perfect. He's his whole career is resurrected in a way. It's like it's
really incredible. No, you're right, and he's not. I mean, it happens. It's the old Patriots thing. I mean, Randy Moss being the best example from being an afterthought in Oakland and not even making Pro Bowls to having the greatest seasons of any receiver in history with the Patriots.
And you even made this slip yourself. You thought Fournette was on the Patriots, right?
No. I was saying that the Patriots. I'm saying that Brady and the Patriots the same thing. They're going to make the other guys better. Antonio Brown is going to be well behaved. Leonard Fournette is going to be well behaved with Tom Brady. And they certainly would be well behaved for Belichick, because Belichick traded a guy who was the best corner in football last season in the middle of this, and they've won all the games since then, I think.
That's amazing.
I mean, just incredible. It's incredible. Vucevic, if Levine sits,
Sure.
I think that's fine. It's not my pride. I'm not desperate to do it. It's a great matchup, but it's totally legit and totally logical to me. He's also a great pivot off of the other 8,200 guys we mentioned. I just like those other 8,200 guys a little bit better than him.
Yeah.
I think the Patriots. I mean, look, right now, if you ask me, I think the Patriots, Chiefs. I still, only just because of my belief that Mahomes will get it together, even though it still looks shaky. The Patriots or Chiefs, I think, are going to win the Super Bowl, or going to be in the Super Bowl. And I think that if the Bucks don't have to play the Rams in the playoffs, I think the Bucks will be in the Super Bowl. If they have to play the Rams, I think either the Rams or the Packers end up in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I just don't. I'd like to think Zone is ready, but I just don't think so yet. I think
they're not quite. I think they're. And also, those guys still haven't been healthy for a while. Like, it might, they need to flow, and we need to see how it looks.
They're going to be a tough team to play if they're healthy. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
I just feel as though the Rams and the Packers and the Bucks are you know what I mean. I just think I think it's just a little bit. Just a little more experience, a little, better defense. Well, obviously better defensively. And
I'll tell you what's frustrating me about the Rams, though. This has happened now for 4 consecutive years. They get somebody, they already have all these defensive, just super talented guys. And then they add somebody in the middle of the season, and somehow their defense gets significantly worse every time. Every time.
I'll tell you what, again, there's another team that I don't know. Maybe they're not a year away. I think that all these, I mentioned the Colts, they're hot. The freaking Bengals are hot. I think the AFC is open, man. I think the Chiefs obviously can play well, but they cannot. I think that the Patriots are still, look, Patriots are the Patriots, but it's still a rookie quarterback when their skill positions are not the greatest. I think the AFC is wide open, man.
Yeah, I just believe in the Patriots defense so much, and I believe in culture being a thing. And I watched Mac Jones play early in the year, and I've watched him play recently, and he looks like he is just a totally different person.
All right, guys, I'm gonna fly. Good luck, everybody, and we'll get Bobby. Don't celebrate too hard tonight.
Okay, no, I need to chill.
Don't celebrate too hard. Well, how about you celebrate with a dub tonight? That would be nice.
That would be a nice way to go. And I keep coming close, so maybe tonight's the night, and just a couple lineups.
All right, good luck, everybody.